Okay, so this is my game's starting screen, or when it loads. Let's see. Yes, this is my project. So this is my final project that I've actually got everything situated and finalized. My level is a procedural dungeon generation. And the way that it works now is that I've built this cave enclosure. And if I go in here, there's nothing down here. So everything is empty under the map. I have this as a placeholder. So what happens is that whenever I press play, let me see if I play in Pi. Yeah. Okay. And let me full screen this real quick. There we go. So up top, I'm running a timer up there, and I have a seed of 4,497. I think it is. I can't really tell, but it's just a random seed that it decided to generate. And then as I take my character, I can run up this hill that I have predetermined, and I've already made this whole area. But as you saw before, there was nothing in this level when I first started it. But because I hit the procedural generation in the exact same spot that I needed it, I was able to generate this dungeon within this exact spot. So it goes under the map. And now it's showing the obsession bar that goes up. It plays the audio cue of the psychological the psychological cue of whenever you enter it. It it hits that little noise, right? And if I sit too long enough, he ends up dying. So it hits to 100%, and if I hit 100%, my character dies. Now I can play that again. Now we're doing another seed. So now it's running seed 29,528. The dungeon was completed, and I can go back in and do it again. The biggest takeaway here is that I was able to get the procedural generation done. It successfully builds every single time. If it fails, it'll reiterate itself, and it'll keep on trying to build itself until it makes a successful build or successful seed. So there are some issues that I'm running into with my stuff. So the whole obsession meter and everything works. But whenever I hit my AI right here, my enemy, whenever I allow it to touch me, and then when I try to go play with my bar again, my bar kind of starts acting wonky and stops really working. But that's really the only bug I've run into so far that I have to recreate or reiterate and redo the code. That's why I was discussing in my previous posts about wanting to use maybe event dispatchers, because this code costs a lot to run, or it's expensive, and it's not really optimized to the point where I want it to be. And that's just really how it's going right now. But I was able to get all my successful builds out, and this is a bug too. This has something to do with one of my arrow connectors not lining up properly. So there are some seeds that are bugged out. So then that would make sense. So like whenever I started the game mode in this seed build, I can take that seed number and I'd be able to exclude it from my my list of seeds of what I want to generate. So if I know it's a failed seed and I don't want it to generate that one over again, I can implement it within my code to basically say don't do that. So to run down, I don't want to go over it over again because of my work in progress videos. I already went over this stuff, but basically I have a dungeon timer. I set my seed. If I want it to be -1, it'll do a random one. If I set the seed to be a random number, then it'll spawn that seed over and over again. So that would be really useful to if I wanted to keep one style of dungeon over and over again, or if I wanted to do like if I wanted to like present this to somewhere or something, and I wanted to make sure that I got a successful dungeon build, and I knew that dungeon itself was like great and there was no flaws with it, and I would want to spawn that specific one, I can go in here and I can do that. Or if I wanted to do that for a game, I'd be able to use that specific dungeon so that I know that for sure, okay, that this one's good for sure, and we're always going to use this one. So then I spawn the start room. I spawn the next room. And then I check for overlapping rooms. If they are overlapping, we want to delete the latest room if it's overlapping. And that's how this does. That's what all this does. This is my sequence. So I set up a delay. I spawn my boss room first. I close the holes. I spawn the doors. I spawn the coin at locations. I spawn the treasure chests. I spawn the enemies, and then I spawn the exit. And then I set the dungeon as complete. I clear and invalidate my timer by handle, and then I print my string saying, "Hey, we're good. It's complete." So that's what we're getting up in our top screen whenever we're like doing it. What else we got going? We got the close holes event. We have the spawn doors event. We obviously this is all code for spawning coins, spawning chests, spawning enemies, spawning the exit, spawning the boss room. So this is basically all of our code here. There is the other thing that I did where I need to go into here and look up my BP hero. BP hero. Let's go into all content right here. Okay, so this is where I did my audio cue, because when I was trying to do this in, say, the coin, since I have the okay, let me bring up the example of the coin real quick. So, coin, pick up. So in this is kind of like some crazy spaghetti code. I like to call that spaghetti code. Of basically, I'm running this kind of like loop, and it's doing like a sequence. And I'm using this gate to open up the gate to be able to pass this value through, and create the obsession, chance the bar. I clamp the float between 0 and 100, and then I create death if it hits over 100, right? And then if I come down here, I can do the break obsession whenever I come out and all that stuff. But when I tried to add the audio here, this loop kept on looping. So then the audio kept on looping like crazy on top of each other. So I would get like 5 or 10 on top of each other, and it was just like really crazy. So my succession with that was to just put it in my BP hero, and I cast this to the BP coin pickup, get the actor location, and I'll just play the sound at the location once. And then if I go in and out, in and out, in and out, it'll just do that over and over again. So basically, we were able to get everything up and running with that. But this is my project called Infernal Greed. We created this on the Unreal Engine 5, and we were able to successfully get successful builds for PCG procedural generation within the Unreal Engine, and I'm able to make these levels over and over again, which was really fantastic. It was a really fun project to go through and challenge myself to do. But if you ever have any issues when you run this code, because I set it up so that you can download this in the drive folder, and I also set this up so that you can like extract it. So this is already set like to ship. So I basically just sent an application over so you can just extract it, double click it, and it should just run. If you run into issues like this is still obviously a bug, and I still haven't worked out a lot of these things yet, but this is a successful generation. If you see these little red, those little red spheres in there, it'll indicate that is accessible dungeon. But I hope you enjoyed this. I had a great time building this, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to set my time aside to be able to pursue this. I wish, however, I wish that my major focused more on game design as a actual like specified study versus like a subcategory, because there needs to be like a lot more integration with computer science, and kind of like cross going back and forth into each other, and I just kind of wished that it was a little bit more specified on that. But as for what I have and what I have available to me, I'm just grateful for the time and opportunities. I appreciate the semester. Thank you so much. And my name is Michael Johnson. Please feel free to contact me for anything when it comes to gaming, game design, or basically building levels. I appreciate it. Thank you.